If it's the first Friday, that means we get the incomparable Vijay Jacob. Vijay is a Gallup Certified Strengths Coach and a manager of ACC Career Services Today's Jobs team, if I got that right. The team facilitates the free strategies for today's jobs course. And today, I would like for you to welcome Vijay for his presentation. Start with why, unlocking clarity and purpose in your job search. Vijay,
awesome, thank you. All right, so it's always good to be here with you all, and I know I was taking notes as I was hearing all of you, and there's no qualms about it. It's tough. Maybe you're discouraged. Maybe you're like, and so that's the reality of our job search. I always like to say, I'm an optimist, and so often when I come to spaces like this, I'll present a helpful tool, and then I'll get a comment or like, Vijay, that's what's great, but do you know how hard and tough and challenging it is? And I want to acknowledge I'm not ignoring that, but I also firmly believe that in a world where there are a lot of things beyond our control, like it's helpful to focus and be reminded of what the good you've done will continue to do. And part of my job, if I were to do my elevator pitch, is just when I come here, is just through the activities and what I say, hopefully remind you that your best that you've done before can be done again, maybe in a different way. And so just reminding you of what you do well is kind of what kind of drives me, even as I've gone through ups and downs as well. So here's where we're going today. We'll talk about, I'm gonna give you two tools. We'll probably spend more time on the golden circle, but I want to at least introduce you to something that I've been geeking out on, called the question burst method, how it could be helpful for you and kind of when applied to the questions that you bring to your job search. So I'll give you a teaser. Maybe the next time I come around, I'll spend more time on that, but I wanted to kind of go ahead and do that. And with our strategies classes, again, a lot of what I'm talking about is at kind of the root of what drives our approach. And so there's a lot of great resources like through Launchpad, the SWOT, I highly recommend that. All the workshops on LinkedIn and AI optimization. There's a lot of tools out there, but what we've chosen to focus on is starting with you as a person, so that way it can drive momentum and resilience, because jobs, there's a lot of disruption, and so it's important for you to kind of expand your imagination and your thinking of what the difference you can make. And so that's kind of our focus. We can't do we meet many amazing people who are like, someone said we're not a done for you type of thing. We want to help you kind of process through that, and as well as give you the resources. So today's kind of like just a intro to that. So I like, there's a comedian, I like him, Michael Jr., and he says, when you know your why, your what becomes more clear and impactful. I want you to think about that for a moment, because when you meet someone, okay, and maybe you are that person, maybe you don't feel it right now, but when you meet someone who understands their why, not only is it fun to work with them, it's fun to work for them, because there's this energy, momentum that drives. Whether you're an admin person, whether you work, I met individuals who are custodial services staff here at ACC who bring that, you can tell, they've got their why. Whether you're a CEO, this applies to everyone. That's something that you can bring wherever you go, and so it's helpful to set, and the reason I care so much about this is I meet so many people in job searching, whether it's coaching, and I ask them, why do you want a job? And inevitably, the first answer is what?
Make money.
Okay, yeah, all right. Make money, or I want to get a promotion, and I'm not discounting those reasons, but especially in a tough, competitive, ever-changing job market, that is no longer enough for you. It is up to you to figure out, or to do that deep reflection so that you can think of creative possibilities. And so I like to the image that came to mind when I was thinking of how I can describe this, it's like one of those cascading water fountains. You may have it, I don't know, like it starts at the top and it kind of ripples down. And so this matters for you as a job seeker or a potentially career pivoter is you need to, if you jump right to the what, so like I need a job. I need to earn a job at this same pay rate. You know, like I was in this industry, I want to stay in this industry. Like it can impact, you start with what without digging into the why and how. It sounds like a list of duties. So it's harder to explain. Like usually when I hear someone say it, you know, like you can tell if they've done that reflection, because then it's like, why do you want this job? Well, I want to do X, Y, Z. If you start with what, you're limiting your possibilities. You'll get to what, all of you will. But when you start with why, it's kind of creates a cascading effect. And especially in a pivot or a tough job market, part of what we're trying to do, what I want to do is help you think through possibilities, because that's the worst thing. When you are trying to pay bills and you know that there's a deadline coming, I like some of the people said survival jobs, things that can be helpful. Like by all means, you know, there's the in between, but this is about keeping kind of the main goal. All right, so I'm going to play this video. Many of you probably all know about Simon Sinek, have probably watched or read his books, but I want to play this because it sets the tone for like his golden circle approach, and then we're going to do some practical guided approach to apply that to your particular moment in your kind of job search journey. So let me go ahead and play this, and then we'll go from there. So
why, how, what? This little idea explains why some organizations and some leaders are able to inspire where others aren't. Let me define the terms really quickly. Every single person, every single organization on the planet knows what they do, 100%. Some know how they do it, whether you call it your differentiating value proposition or your proprietary process or your USP. But very, very few people or organizations know why they do what they do. And by why, I don't mean to make a profit. That's a result. It's always a result. By why, I mean what's your purpose? What's your cause? What's your belief? Why does your organization exist? Well, as a result, the way we think, the way we act, the way we communicate is from the outside in. It's obvious. We go from the clearest thing to the fuzziest thing. But the inspired leaders and the inspired organizations, regardless of their size, regardless of their industry, all think, act, and communicate from the inside out. Let me give you an example. I use Apple because they're easy to understand and everybody gets it. If Apple were like everyone else,
and this is dated, you know, it's interesting when I watch these, like in 2025 versus, you know, but just FYI, yeah.
Simple to use and user-friendly. Want to buy one? Meh. And that's how most of us communicate. That's how most marketing is done, that's how most sales is done, and that's how most of us communicate interpersonally. We say what we do, we say how we're different or how we're better, and we expect some sort of behavior, a purchase, a vote, something like that. Here's our new law firm. We have the best lawyers with the biggest clients. We have, you know, we always perform for our clients, do business with us. Here's our new car. It gets great gas mileage. It has, you know, leather seats. Buy our car. But it's uninspiring. Here's how Apple actually communicates. Everything we do, we believe in challenging the status quo. We believe in thinking differently. The way we challenge the status quo is by making our products beautifully designed, simple to use, and user-friendly. We just happen to make great computers. Want to buy one? Totally different, right? You're ready to buy a computer from me. All I did was reverse the order of the information. What it proves to us is that people don't buy what you do, people buy why you do it. People don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it.
Awesome. Okay, so we could keep going on, but you can watch, this is all over YouTube. You maybe have watched it in the past. I encourage you to kind of go back in and just kind of use it to prime your thinking in this unit. Because job search, like it's like there's seasons, there's moments, and so like what could that look like for you today? So what I'm going to do is just we're going to do in the moments with us, kind of apply this, and I've got a worksheet, and we'll go through this in a second. We'll give you time to kind of get your mind thinking around like how can I use this method to help me apply, reflect on your like why, how, what. All right. So, and again, the last time I was here, we talked about strengths and story, and we're building upon that same concept. So like, what excites me, what impact, who benefits? Those are all core questions, I guess you could say, in the job search. Like what people are looking for. All right. So. Here are the three concepts I'll just kind of breaking down. So the why, this is what Simon Sinek gets, the inner circle. So it's a reason you're pursuing opportunities. So as a job seeker, this can mean what drives you, what impact do you want to have, why this career path, industry, and role. All right. So you maybe already have, maybe you're stronger, you're clearer on this, which is great. But so even as you're going through in the worksheet, I'll give you a moment to kind of think through that. So that's kind of the first part. The second part, the how, is what are your strengths and your methods? Or Simon Sinek talks about it, what's your unique value? What's your unique value approach? And so strengths, the way you get results, like each of you in this room, if have unique ways of operating that are linked to who you are, that make a difference wherever you go. And so it's important to think, how do I get results? And then how do you consistently show up and add value? Like so one of the things that I'm fully aware of is like, I guess, yeah, it's part of what animates what I do is like, I'm helping people find jobs, but a job is not the sum total of your life. It's an important part. But a lot of times when you're in a job search or you're dealing with rejections, like that job becomes like that big shining light, like that you feel reflects poorly or badly on your life. But life is bigger. Our lives, our meaning and purpose in life is bigger than our jobs. Jobs are important. I'm not minimizing that. But sometimes it's harder because this is why we're doing it, because we need to be reminded, what's the unique value proposition that I bring? And then the third one is what. So what are the roles? And so often, this is, if you notice, Sinek talks about we start with the out in. A lot of times, even I've done this, we start here, what? Like what roles? But it's important to kind of go inside, outside, because that can help you specifically. I never promise quick results, but it can help you be resilient as you're dealing with rejections, because you're not just like a chameleon changing who you are just to land that job, but the jobs that you are searching are in alignment with who you are and what you can bring. Like ultimate jobs, obviously there may be like short-term survival jobs that you have to do, but I'm, again, for the purpose of this activity, thinking like, how are you connecting the mini dots to the big picture dots? All right, so maybe like the roles, the industries, the deliverables, I think like for all of us, yeah. So let me ask you a quick question before we move on. When you think of these three stages, how, what, why, maybe I hear from a couple of, which of these would you say you're strongest at? Like when you think of your personal kind of thinking and approach, which of these things would you say you're like, I have the greatest clarity in why? Like, yeah. Go ahead. Yeah, okay, so you're clearest on your why. Okay, anyone else? Yeah, go ahead. On how? What? Okay, and what would you say is the how that's easiest for you to communicate or articulate?
People find words and ways and perspectives to get where they're going.
Yeah, so this idea of I'm a coach, facilitate, like even as you described it, the image of I come alongside people, I design environments. So that's the how. Yeah, go ahead.
For me, I've been thinking a lot about my why recently, and for me, it's really about seeing potential and helping develop that potential.
In accounting spaces, right? Yeah.
That's right.
So and there's different ways like let's say, if I was I'm not speaking about you personally, but like if you had defined your why, maybe someone is like great at accounting, but they're like, man, it's not working out. You could use that why to kind of animate or motivate related job searches, right? So that's where the power of why is so important. I was meeting with someone this week, and I won't call them out, but like I in essence practiced this activity with them. And really, when it came down to it, it came down to two things that this individual said. Helping people, connecting with people, and making the place where I live better. Right? Yeah, that was, all right, yeah. Right, and so if you wouldn't, like, how was that helpful for you when you were able to kind of get to those two key words?
Yeah, I mean, it reminded me that I'm more interested in working in the community rather than kind of focused outward, like globally or that sort of thing, and just, yeah, that I want to help improve place within the community and make it a more environmentally rich place.
Yeah, and so then, so then working out from there, it's like, man, like all these options that hadn't been considered for areas to use that, to kind of live out that. Yeah, so here's an example. I want to just kind of go through the steps just for someone. This is from someone moving from customer service into project management. So someone who might say this, I believe people deserve experiences that are efficient, clear, and stress-free. Okay, these are some whys. And then in the how, I do this by organizing detail, setting clear expectations, keeping communication flowing across teams. There's some other, how. And then the what. In practice, this looks like, doing X, Y, Z. All right, so this is kind of so what we're going to do right now is I'm going to give you a few, this is not meant to be like the get it done, get you started, all right? Because you could spend, some of you are like, man, Vijay, like I'm tired of thinking about why, too many questions. I totally get that. So what I'm going to do is give you 5 minutes just on your own, like solo, to kind of work through this, the golden circle worksheet, all right? And it doesn't have to be perfect, don't worry, but just use the prompts to kind of go like, what comes to mind? And for the purpose of this activity, I don't want you to overthink like your I know how it is, I've been there. Some of you are wordsmiths, you're a master at communication. You pour over that like the words, all right? I just want you to go, what's coming to first in mind? And then just go with that, all right? So that, because sometimes I think that can be also revealing what's coming like at the top, because then we can pay attention to that. All right, so I'm going to give you 5 minutes, and then after we're done with that, I'm going to have you pair up and then share kind of any insights or things that you're learning with each other. All right, so 5 minutes. It's now, yeah, so 11. Yeah, oh, thank you. Yeah, all right. So I'll give you some solo time to do that. Maybe I'll play, yeah. about 2 more minutes. Don't worry if you don't get everything done, or if you want to just give it a try for each area. But 2 more minutes. One more minute. Okay, great. So don't worry if you haven't finished it. I want you to pair up, like partner up, and then I want each of you to share, just quickly go through and just do like a synopsis reading of your why, how, what really quickly. And then maybe was there like a light bulb or something that when you did this exercise right now that kind of stood out to you that could be helpful? Maybe share that with your partner. So I'm going to give you, I'll give you another like 5 minutes to kind of, to do this. Partner up, and then we'll kind of see if there's hear from a couple of people for the group. Oh. All right. Okay. I got lost. Talk about design. All right, everyone. Let's come back together. This is great. So here's a challenge I want to put out to you. As yeah, that's great. As you all want. Maybe if you connected with someone or your partner or someone in this group, I encourage you to reach out and maybe just grab coffee with someone in this room, or 2 or 3 or 4, I don't know, and just kind of have a follow-up, a stronger conversation, because I think it's this is something I practice, and I think it's harder when you're in a job search, because you're just like, man, I just need something to move right now, yesterday, 3 weeks ago. And so then it's hard for you to then bring your best self when you're in that mindset. And so this is by all means not a quick solve solution, because it may bring up questions of man, why am I even pursuing certain things when there's not alignment? And so I don't want to overpromise, but it's helpful. So let's hear from the room. What were some insights or takeaways? Or maybe you heard something that someone shared. You're like, man, I want to share this with the group. Let's hear from 2 or 3 of you. What were some insights, takeaways, things you want to call out? Yes.
One of the people that I was speaking with was talking about teaching other people and helping other people, and the way that she described it was being the pebble in the pond, that the ripples just keep going helps other people do their job better too, who can then keep it moving forward.
Yeah, and so that's great. And so what I hear, even just in hearing that, that's a root like why that then can be applied to when you read a job description. You should, this is the connection, the bridge to the practical elements. Like the worksheet, you can connect it to your writing, but even in your strategy, when you read a job description, how do you see your why in that job description? Like, do you see more of your why in that job description? Because then it's easier for you to write a cover letter, to think of stories and all of that. There's a cascade effect when you can kind of start do that work. And so like when I tell people, you're still doing work, but it's a kind of different work, because a lot of times people will be like, all right, here's my list of 50 jobs. And then you're starting to apply. But if I want to just encourage you to maybe carve out some time where you can just do that deep reflection work. And then maybe it still will lead to the same outcome, but maybe you're not doing 50. Maybe there's a whole different range of stuff that you may want to apply for. Yeah, there was another person. Go ahead. And then, hear from others, yeah.
So I kind of went down and started the exercise on the why of just I believe, and just did a bunch of I believe statements.
Oh, nice. You just camped out in there. That's good, huh?
I believe people like to build, make, create. I believe people feel more inspired and excited when they're able to bond over similar ideas, which then took me to, I believe people bring their own experiences and stories they want to share. And then as we were talking, I realized, but validation. People bring their own experiences, but they also want to be validated in what they're going through. And I know personally, if someone else can sit there and tell me, oh my gosh, that sucked what you went through. Someone else is now carrying the burden of this.
Yeah, and what I wanted, when you did your pitch at the front, you're like, maybe I'm considering, do you say like teaching other, like, was it you were considering that, right? So what I heard is, I don't know if others heard this, but in the I believe, it's a statement or philosophy of the learning environments you want to shape, like how you want to impact lives through teaching or empowerment, right? So I thought that was interesting. I want to highlight. Yeah, I know there were other couple of hands, and then we'll kind of, if anyone else, yeah.
I've said a lot of stuff, but I wanted to mention something that this was like the perfect timing for me to do this exercise, because I had a friend who suggested an idea for me. On Monday, I'm planning to put on my LinkedIn profile looking for work, and
that's the big,
a post with a video message. Because that tends to get a lot more traction than just a written post. But I was like struggling today, like how am I going to script my pitch or whatever? This is it.
Yeah, and one thing that's coming to my mind that's helpful is like whenever you're in a career pivot, most of you could be doing upskilling, taking courses, right? And there's that moment where you get that badge, whether it's a digital badge or course completion. And I found this can be helpful, because when you say I completed XYZ, it's great to not just I completed it, but connect it to like these why, because that's another free way for you to be like, I'm doing this because it connects to something that's really related. Same thing with open, like when you're like, I'm looking for work, or I just got laid off, or I have 2 more weeks left. There's variations all on LinkedIn. You probably have seen that. But again, at the root of when you see all of that, you can trace it back to someone did some reflection around this. So however you want to express that, do it in your way. But I think definitely what's more important is don't skip this step of doing that, because it can help you. Anyone else want to add anything to the great stuff that's already been said? Yeah.
This was a post that I saw in LinkedIn, and it kind of really resonated with me. And what it said was, success is making a difference in other people's lives.
I agree with that, though.
And I mean, it's so true, because, you can do all kinds of things, but what's your bottom line? What did you actually do through life?
Yeah, and so thank you, Elaine. And so this is something that's really helpful. Like, I would say like a lot of us, maybe you say, like my root why is I just want to help people, all right? But the way I would help people, all right, might look different than how you help, right? We're still helping people, and so this is where this could help you, no pun intended, like put some more words and descriptions to your unique stories and things that you do that. All right. So anyone else before I just share about the question burst, and then what I'd love to do, actually, just prompt this. I'd love to do a group picture, like up here, if that's okay with you all, like just to celebrate the community, because sometimes like it's we need to be reminded we're running together with people. It's just like the Tour de France. I know I've said this before, but like if you're ever like in triathlon or you do like cycling, there's people running with you. You're running the race, and there's people. So this is just a visual reminder. Yeah.
I have a quick question for you because you brought up LinkedIn. Is it worth it to do a LinkedIn Premium? LinkedIn Premium.
No, I think it just depends. Okay. No. Yeah.
LinkedIn does prioritize people who pay, so you do show up earlier in searches.
Ask Kathy about that.
I will.
She'll tell you how.
All right. So hopefully you can. So like my homework for you to build community is find 2 or 3 people here in this space or who you know, kind of reflect on this, get their feedback on that. The second thing that really, and this will be just a couple minutes. So I've been reading. I'm currently reading through this book, but there's so much great stuff. And I'll send out the slide deck, and there's a link to like the process for like the question burst, trademarked. I want to make sure it's recorded out there. Give all credit to you, but it's all about curiosity, and I think it's important because I've been thinking a lot more about this because, every day there's someone's like the future of work is this, or like, and but there's also uncertainty, and so I think it's an important time for those of you who are really great to lean into like what are your curiosity inquiry skills, because leading with questions when uncertainty is the norm, that's an important skill to have and to practice. And so and I love that because questions have the power, I like this quote, to unlock new insights. And that's part of why, like, even with strategies, there's a class, it's paired with coaching, and so the guided process plus like just meeting with someone can maybe hopefully spark some insight. But what he says, so what I wanted to do, again, the link will be there, but where this is helpful is the question burst method is just taking 2 minutes, 4 minutes, and just like writing down all the questions. Like you can do this by yourself or with a group. The back of this worksheet that I provided you is a guided process that you can do that. Or what I would do is maybe gather a committee, or if you're in a SWAT team, like get a group of people, frame your job search problem, and then kind of see what questions collectively. And the key for this is not necessarily the answers, but it's noticing what are the catalytic questions that I should lean into to help me like form my strategy of what I should do next. Because if you don't unpack your questions, we're all dealing with questions. Your uncertainty around what you're wrestling with shows up when you're networking, shows up in your elevator pitch, shows up when you're in an interview and they're like, tell me about yourself. And so this is another helpful tool to be able to unpack that. And so I want to leave you, this is like, I'm practicing this myself. Like, we're like going through some, like an ACC reorg, you have to apply for stuff. And so I'm having to think through, like, what do I want to do? And so I spent time, like, on a week, it was a Saturday, I spent like an hour. And these are my questions. These are not the questions for you. I want to be clear. I just wanted to show, like, it could be a whole set of different questions. But when I sat down and I did this, it was like, why do I want to be, these were the questions that surfaced, like when I just did this activity. And then what was great, what I noticed it did for me is it helped me go through, like, helped me to think through what are 2 key things that if I were, as I'm like writing my cover letter and all of that I want to center my experience on. And this led me to go, I'm going to talk about catalyst. I'm a catalyst, and I bring stability, right? And so this activity helped me to kind of wrestle with the questions within. You all might have a whole set of different questions, That's totally fine. This is not about the one question. It's more important to surface the questions, because then you can kind of, when you see them, you're like, oh, you can anticipate, like, you can kind of deal with it. And then the side effect, the benefit of this is job searching, you're constantly like anticipating what someone might want and how you might meet their need. This is just a simple way to do this on your own that kind of gets you in that mindset. All right. So I'll come back and probably we can unpack question bursts more later. But yeah, you're welcome to schedule coaching, take the strategies class, 2 cohorts starting, and then I'll be available to answer, connect or answer any questions. So yeah.
And if anyone is interested in the strategy class, I've got flyers that has.
Yeah, and those and we've added one more section. So like, just check our website, and we'll have 2 cohorts starting next month. Monday, Wednesday, 2 to 4, and then 5 to 7. Yeah.
Is it similar to the SWOT way of doing things? The class?
No, I would say what SWOT does really well, and this is important, great question. So what we're doing in our 4-week class is we're helping you think through your comprehensive, like, branding approach and your mind's, like, kind of getting you to think through if you're at that crossroads moment. What SWOT can do is just, and this is why Launchpad is such a great community group, is like, when you search by yourself, it can kind of feel like overwhelming. And second, depending on how you're wired from an execution standpoint, you may just need that accountability structure to like actually like do stuff. And actually, more often than not, why I think SWOT can be helpful is, and what we see even at strategies when we have like a goal setting, most people are like, by the next 3 weeks, I'm going to apply for, I'm making this up, like 300 jobs, or we tend to like overset expectations. Mm-hmm. And the beauty of, I think, a SWOT thing is like when you're kind of being faithful to that process week in, week out, it's like you can adjust expectations, but still be committed to that process. So take advantage of that. There's nothing sexy about like.
It'll lose 20 pounds.
Yeah. But it's just that commitment. And maybe if it's not SWOT, ask yourself like, who are the people who are running with me that can kind of give me the needed dose of encouragement, energy to continue that, because that's one of the challenging things when you are dealing with rejection, or you feel like you're losing your way, or there's a loss of confidence, which happens when we're not doing work, because work is part of who we are and how we make a difference in this world, right? And when you're in that between, it's there's a lot of mind games going on, and so take advantage of that. Yeah. So it's an accountability structure to hold your feet to the ground about like, I'm going to do it. Yeah.
Would you say taking the strategy class first and then moving?
Yeah.
To the
So
SWOT?
you're already in that process,
Yeah.
and that's why we partner with Launchpad. And we usually around week 3 we'll start talking about, here's the upcoming Launchpad, the SWOT intro meetings. But it's helpful for SWOT, and this is where I think strategies can be helpful, is you need clarity on your target job to maximize the impact or the design of a SWOT group. Because if you can't own your decision, or you feel like this is it, then it's hard to kind of do the week in, week out on the acting on that, right?
Yeah, you have to have your why down, and the strategies course is a great thing to go through to then go to the SWOT team. If you want to try to, if you feel like I've got things in place now, you can go to the SWOT team now. But I think we're a good follow on to what they're teaching you.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you.